Welcome back to the Daily Crypto Roundup, the show that keeps you ahead of the market every single day. Today's episode is a big one because the market has been moving in a strange, jittery, fragile pattern that tells you straight away that traders are uncertain, liquidity is thin, and every big wallet movement is sending shockwaves through an already nervous landscape. We're going to break down everything that's happened over the last 24 hours, including SpaceX shifting another massive tranche of Bitcoin, XRP getting hit by a wave of sudden negative sentiment, Bitcoin sliding underneath that key $90,000 level, as traders step back and wait for clarity. Strategy CEO Phong Lee once again reassuring the market that Strategy will not be selling its Bitcoin holdings anytime soon. And we'll also run through the latest 24-hour trading range from Binance, which really shows how tight and reactive the market has become. It's one of those days where you can feel momentum building, but also sense a sort of cautious patience, as though the market is waiting for the next major catalyst to reveal its hand. All of that is coming up in just a moment. Before we dive into the stories, a quick reminder that we're running the XRP giveaway all the way through Christmas. Every single week we give the comment of the Week 10 XRP, depending on the impact and insight of what you write, and then we pick a second random listener to receive 5 XRP as well. All you need to do is rate the show 5 stars and drop a comment saying "done" or add your thoughts on the episode. The support recently has been unbelievable, especially with the amount of new listeners joining the podcast every day. These 5-star ratings genuinely help push the show higher up the charts, and the more momentum we pick up now, the more the algorithm rewards us in the long term. If you enjoy the show, if it helps you understand the markets or stay updated in the chaos, take 2 seconds to hit that 5-star button on Apple or Spotify. It means more than you realize, and it helps this community grow faster than we ever expected. Let's run through the coin prices as they stand right now, and these are pretty fresh because the market has been swinging all over the place today. Bitcoin is sitting just under $90,000, at about $89,500 and change. It's fluctuated quite a bit through the day, occasionally poking back above 90,000. Occasionally dipping into the mid-89 range, and this kind of behavior is exactly what you get when traders are cautious and liquidity is patchy. Ethereum is holding around the 3,040 mark. It hasn't really tried to break out in either direction today, more a case of consolidation while it waits for Bitcoin to show a clearer trend. BNB is just under $900, trading around 894-ish. XRP is down near $2.03 after a pretty rough day of sentiment. Solana is in the low 130s at roughly 132. Tron is at about 28 cents. Dogecoin is around 14 cents. Cardano is sitting at 41 cents. Figure Helloc is just over $1. And White Bitcoin is at roughly $60. Those are your top 10 non-stable coins by market cap. And as always, they're moving by the minute. So by the time you hear this, the numbers may have nudged slightly either way. But what matters is the shape of the market. Cautious, jittery, reactive, and very sensitive to any kind of macro or whale-driven newsflash. Let's get into the biggest story of the day, because this one rippled through the market quicker than almost anything else we've seen recently. SpaceX has shifted another massive tranche of Bitcoin, around 1,083 BTC, worth just under $100 million at the time of the transfer, into fresh wallets. Now, this is not the first time they've done this. Over the last couple of months, SpaceX has conducted a series of large transfers, and while none of these transactions confirm buying or selling, what they do confirm is movement. And movement from big corporate-held wallets always triggers speculation. Add to that the fact that liquidity has been extremely thin recently, and you get exactly what happened today: an immediate market reaction. Bitcoin was already under pressure coming into the morning, hovering dangerously close to the psychological $90,000 threshold. When the SpaceX transfer data hit the public feeds, sentiment wobbled, bids thinned out even more, and the price slipped into the 89,000 range. Now, under normal conditions, a $100 million transfer from a known institutional wallet might not cause such a dramatic effect. But this market is not in normal conditions. Traders are jumpy. Order books are shallow. There's no conviction on either side. And when you combine low liquidity with a whale movement from a company as high profile as SpaceX, that's a perfect recipe for volatility. The important thing here is that the transfer itself doesn't confirm whether SpaceX sold, moved into cold storage, rebalanced wallets, or prepared for custodial restructuring. But what it does confirm is that institutional hands are active. And when they're active in a fragile market, everyone pays attention. Some analysts have speculated that this might be recustodying ahead of year-end positioning. Others think it could be clearing or restructuring activity related to internal accounting. None of that is confirmed, but what is confirmed is the effect. Bitcoin slipped, sentiment weakened further, and traders backed away from aggressive longs. We are going to pause here for a quick word from our sponsors. Stay with us.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews all on the app. Download Thumbtack today.
What can 160 years of experience teach you about the future? When it comes to protecting what matters, Pacific Life provides life insurance, retirement income, and employee benefits for people and businesses building a more confident tomorrow. Strategies rooted in strength and backed by experience. Ask a financial professional how Pacific Life can help you today. Pacific Life Insurance Company, Omaha, Nebraska, and in New York. Pacific Life and Annuity, Phoenix, Arizona.
And speaking of sentiment, that brings us to today's second major story. XRP taking a hit as social sentiment swung sharply bearish. XRP has dropped back down toward that $2 region, now hovering around $2.03, which in itself isn't catastrophic. XRP often makes sharp moves in both directions. What's more interesting is the underlying sentiment data. Analysts tracking social media behavior noticed a significant increase in negative commentary around XRP over the last several hours, and that shift in tone has historically lined up with short-term price weakness. Now, here's the twist. In many past cycles, these fear zones for XRP have actually preceded fast recoveries. XRP is one of those assets where retail sentiment sometimes overreacts, creating opportunities for sharp bounce scenarios. But right now, because the whole market is fragile, sentiment-driven moves are amplifying the downside. When traders are nervous, fear spreads faster than confidence. That's exactly what we saw today. But, and this is the important caveat, if Bitcoin stabilizes, XRP is one of the coins that often reacts the fastest on the rebound. So while today looked rough, this could set up a short-term opportunity if broader conditions calm down. It's not what you trade blindly, but it is something to keep on your radar if BTC finds a floor. Now let's talk about Bitcoin itself sliding under 90,000, because this move wasn't just about SpaceX or sentiment. What's happening here is a classic pre-macro setup. Traders are stepping back ahead of key economic data, specifically inflation numbers and a chunky options expiry. And when you combine that with lackluster liquidity, price naturally drifts downward. What we're seeing is not a panic. It's more like the market collectively saying, let's wait and see. This type of price action, weak rallies, hesitation at resistance, sharp but shallow dips, is textbook behavior when bigger catalysts sit just over the horizon. Traders don't want to go heavy long because macro risk is real, and they don't want to go heavy short because any positive macro surprise can trigger a violent short squeeze. So we end up in this indecisive middle ground where even small sell pressure pushes price lower. Complicating this dynamic is the fact that altcoins aren't providing any leadership either. When Ethereum is quiet, Solana is quiet, and the rest of the market feels subdued, Bitcoin becomes the sole driver of momentum, and that's a lot of pressure for one asset to carry. Today's dip below 90,000 wasn't dramatic or panic-driven. It was more like a slow, controlled bleed. But it still matters, because it reinforces the idea that traders are choosing caution over aggression until something meaningful breaks the deadlock. One thing that did help calm the market slightly, at least in terms of narrative, was a statement from Strategy CEO Phong Lee. He came out again and said that Strategy has no plans to sell its Bitcoin holdings anytime soon, reiterating that the company remains price agnostic and is unlikely to sell before 2029, unless something catastrophic hits their balance sheet. Now, Strategy holds one of the largest corporate Bitcoin treasuries in the world. Whenever speculation builds around institutional selling, Strategy is always one of the first names people worry about. So hearing the CEO reaffirm long-term commitment at a moment when sentiment is fragile actually does help restore a bit of stability. Lee also mentioned that the company has built a strong cash buffer, reportedly around $1.4 billion, to ensure they can service operations and dividends without touching their Bitcoin stack. This is important because every time Bitcoin dips, rumors start swirling about whether leveraged or treasury-heavy companies will be forced to sell. Strategy stepping in to say, "No, we're not selling. We're well-funded. We're steady," removes at least one major fear point from the market. And finally, Binance's 24-hour trading update tells the same story that everything else tells. Volatility held within a tight range, with Bitcoin trading between $88,000 and $91,500. That's a narrow but choppy band, and it really highlights the current state of the market: reactive, cautious, and waiting for the next catalyst. When you see ranges like this, it often means a bigger move is loading in the background. Markets don't stay coiled up forever. Eventually, something breaks the tension. Whether that's bullish or bearish depends entirely on how macro data lands and how trader positioning evolves. But what these numbers do show is that we're in a compression phase, and compression phases always lead to expansion phases. The only question is direction. Bitcoin needs solid liquidity and stronger conviction from traders to break to the upside. If those don't appear soon, downside probes become more likely. But for now, the market sits in that uncomfortable middle, not panicking, not rallying, just waiting. That's everything for today's Daily Crypto Roundup. Drop your thoughts in the comments, rate the show 5 stars to enter the XRP giveaway, and let me know what you think the next big move will be. Thanks for listening, and as always, we'll see you at the top.